First week of the buys is done and dusted. And if you scored over 800, well done. You made bulk ranks this week. I made 792, so pretty happy with that with the 13 I put on the park. Fanua Blake didn't go crash up as a trade in, and my Raiders went a little bit low, apart from good old Fogarty. But overall, having Savala instead of Katoa there didn't end up hurting me too much, which was pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with how I went, just outside the top 1,000 now and up to seventh in the Podcasters League, I think, right alongside Jamie and Longy, the casual athlete. So going pretty well there. Yeah, now it's time to start moving all of these Raiders, all of these Roosters, all these guys who I might have too many of, and I need to prepare for round 15 and beyond. So this is me set up for this week at the moment. I've brought in Kolomatangi for Jacob Kiraz. It's a very easy swap. And in my opinion, Kolomatangi is hands down the buy of the week. In the game against West Tigers in round 11, just before Origin, he was out pointing Terrell May in base until final updates came through, and he ended up with 49 tackles and 280 run meters, something like that. So 77 in base, and Terrell was like about 80, 81. So if he's going to be playing huge minutes in the middle, and as Wayne said in the press conference, yes, even though Keon didn't look too super enthused at the idea of him staying in the middle, Wayne did indicate, yes, Keon's going to be in the middle. With his edge duel, that is going to be super, super helpful, probably in round 18 and a couple of these weeks. And just strengthens that position really, really strongly, considering how well the Rabbits go through the buys. There's a few options going forward into this week, but we've kind of got to think of them all in context. If I go to, which page was it? Yeah, this was the page. So Terrell had 82 in base. But if we look at the top buys this week, they're kind of very obvious. Jaden Campbell, very likely the top averaging wing fullback with his half opportunities. He is huge bring in. Only problem is he plays a Storm this week. I'm not getting him at the moment because I'd probably have to sell Whites. And I'm also waiting on news for Aden Fanua Blake. Owen Aitken, also very, very nice. If we look at the buy round grid, the Rabbitohs, after missing round 12, play all rounds up until round 19. So very, very useful for this next period. These Rabbitohs, bit of a tough week, as I mentioned previously this week, because Seagulls, Rabbits, and Raiders all have that bye. I think that's probably going to be the hardest week of the lot, to be honest. Maybe even harder than round 18. But yeah, Owen Aitken looks very good. I don't think he's going to get dual, which is pretty sad, but we will see how it ends up going. He was supposed to get dual if he is named at centre one of these couple of next matches, but I don't think that's going to end up happening. But yes, so Owen Aitken's a good buy. Dylan Lucas just crushed it. Fletcher Sharp crushed it. If you don't have them, they're very good, very important, especially Dylan Lucas, in my opinion. Turbo's up there, but that's probably going to go back down now that the injury news about him this week and potentially even next week. Seabold said he's got a minor myofascial injury, which is like a connective tissue injury attached to the muscles or something like that. May even miss next week as well. But yeah, a lot of these guys are pretty solid picks. Don't think I would buy Jazz now, given that he's about 500k now. And, well, who knows? We're playing a guessing game with Gerbo at this point. No Gerbo this week makes it interesting for Jazz, but those buy round coverage is very good. If you have him, I think you're home and hose with hookers for this buy period and you leave it at that. But yes, in order to make really good comments on these type of players and whether they're buys and whether it's worth buying Jaden Campbell versus James Tedesco, who will play your two major buys and things like that, we need to actually sit down and look at how they fit together in a team. So I've used my team here. This was my last minute panic panic planning before round 12 locked out, whether I was going to buy Lipoi Hopoi for my mid coverage moving forwards, and I ended up not doing it. He did really well, so would have been nice to have that cash down, but I think Latu Fainu, now with the Galva news, is just going to be that guy that we use. I've gone Kraz to Colo this week, nice and solid. White was initially listed here for me as a trade out, but if we look what that does to my round 15 side, I'm missing a mid. I don't have that mid option. So to be honest, I think that's not going to happen anymore, and it may even be Riley Smith that goes out. That will probably also depend on if Max Plath is available. If Max Plath is finally back in round 14, loses a bit of cash but scores well, very likely that I can sell Riley Smith for Plath to play hooker for this round. Katoa. I don't know if he plays round 18 though, so maybe I'll go a different route anyway. Maybe there'll be somebody that pops up. Yeah, so White is currently in my round 15 plans, but I would really like Jaden Campbell as well. He plays all of these except for round 18. Drinkwater plays everything from now on until the end of Origin. If you don't have Drinkwater, maybe you can wait a week for him to drop a tiny bit of cash, but he's also up against Tigers this week. Yeah, Drinkwater versus Tigers. So he could bounce back and be a very strong scorer anyway. So Drinkwater is a good buy. Campbell looks like a pretty good buy. I had planned Kautoga to Garrick, but honestly, with 3 straight 50s, I don't think I'm going to be selling Kautoga anytime soon. And I'll work around something eventually. There's a few rounds to go. I may just end up buying a cheap guy that just plays these weeks. And I'm not sure who that might be yet. It could even be like which teams are available. So we have the Dragons, we have the Cows, we have the Roosters, we have the Rabbits, and we have the Seagulls that play round 15 and round 18. So for me, that would probably, if Murray Taulagi was injured for long term, might be Jackson Paulo. But I seriously doubt that's going to happen. Maybe I look for. There's not many, are there? There's really not many. Maybe even like Campbell Graham when everybody's fit. But again, that increases my round 19 Rabbits, Seagulls, and Raiders. So that's a bit yuck and a bit rough, and I prefer to fully cash down. All the answers aren't perfectly there at the moment. There's a very strong chance we end up sideways trading guys like Class if he's out this week with a niggle, then we can get some good players who we want. Or Kautonga if he does go back to dud scores after a few weeks or picks up an injury or something like that. Or just some of these guys who we already have will be used to get good players in those positions without taking out these other guys. Good chance for me that Horse is on the chopping block at some point if the other guys go okay. Fanua Blake himself might actually go out, which is really annoying, but I've got to watch that injury because he was seen in a sling post-game. I think it's supposed to be minor, and he's just kind of keeping it quiet, but I don't like to see that. So for me, my plans mostly revolve around buying a third good half, Katoa for round 15, quite good, and Fainu will also come in likely in round 18 as that second half. Do Finns play that one? I actually know that's not right. So that will probably be Savala, and then Savala will be sold straight away after that. But yeah, this part is really, really hard to know how to approach until we get there, because there are some trades that are just not ideal. Like, I don't want to trade out to Marley because I might really want to use him in round 18. I might want that spot that Campbell currently is grayed out on because he's on a bye, because the Raiders do indeed play round 18. Oh, we've got to upgrade these guys sometime, right? We've got to upgrade them to the best guys, and there will be others that show up. So if I wasn't to have Campbell for round 18, maybe I put Nawa there, and instead I buy a centre. Who would I buy that plays round 18? That's a good centre. Let's have a look. Storm, no. Dragons, Holmes will be playing Origin, so no. Cowboys, not buying Jackson Purdue. He's max price. Laybutt will be too expensive by then. Garrick's a possibility, but I already have Garrick in these plans, so that's a little dodgy. Could potentially be buying him there in that week anyway if I don't have him. Roosters already have Nawa there planned. Tigers, don't want any centres from them. Rabbitohs, that's probably where Aitken would have come in handy. That's probably where Aitken's centre would have been really, really nice, but don't think that's going to happen now. Broncos, no real centres, and then Raiders. Yeah, so it's looking really, really rough for round 18 if I do sell Tamale, which is a massive pain, honestly, but that's also another 5 weeks away. Bound to be injuries, bound to be things going on. I might just end up buying a really good, strong centre for that week and see how we go. Maybe I do buy who'd be the strongest? Maybe I do buy a Campbell Graham in round 18. But yeah, it's looking increasingly likely that I'll need a Garrick in round 18, or at the very least, a big cash out from an Origin guy. And out of these teams, I don't think there'll be that many that'll actually be in the centres. So yeah, sort of thinking on my feet here and through my thinking process to just see how you can interpret your own team. Look at how some of these players fit together with this buy schedule and start to work out what's similar for your team and what you might be laughing all the way to the bank about with the Jazz or already having Garrick and things like that. So that's where I'm sitting at the moment. I'm probably holding off on these for now, just because I can go really, really hard in that round 14 and round 15 when I've got more information. I've got 17 trades still, which is really, really good. I'm very happy that I only made the one last week and now 16 trades after getting Kolomatangi in. So that'll probably do for my team for fantasy. It's kind of just sitting and waiting. Let's have a look at the loops this week, though, because that's the other big thing. Last week, there were so many teams on the bye, we couldn't do it. This week, it's pretty juicy. If you've got at least one or two, let's put it here so we can actually see what's going on. If we got one or two, you can probably do a lot. For me, I have Adam Fanua-Blake. He's going to loop Haas with that. He's been past fit, but I just do not like his chances of backing up. Let's actually use this one. That'll be much more useful. There we go. So yeah, Haas plays here on the Saturday, so only a 3-day turnaround. Don't love that, but see how it goes. And Horsburgh's on standby coming in there. Terrell May is just the C option this week. If you're not captaining him, you're risking quite a lot. Cleary versus Eels should be very nice, but he's also backing up. Who knows? Maybe they flog him and he goes off 20 minutes early. Don't know. I think he's probably the second best captain option this week, though. Maybe you could argue Aaron Clark's a good captain option again, or even like a Kolomatangi. But like, why would you go away from Terrell May this week? So for me, that's that loop. If that goes poorly and Haas either doesn't play or he scores like a 40 in reduced minutes and I play Horse instead, if I get news that Fanua-Blake is actually properly injured, I can trade him instead of Karaz and then bring Karaz down here and use it to loop Tamale and Kautonga. And maybe they can't loop Nawa actually and Tamale because they both played the last game. So yeah, probably Kautonga and Tamale. Maybe even Drinkwater because we'll be able to see his score based on then. But then I need to bring that. Yeah, so just leave it at Tamale and Kautonga. So we'll see how that goes. But first part is White is going to be my edge loop. Hosking plays last, can't really do anything about that. So Pierce Paul is going to be the guy that has a look. If he goes really well, he stays like that. If he goes shocking, Kautonga moves up and Tamale will go in there. So I'm essentially looping KPP and Tamale. And if Karaz comes back into my team because I trade from the Blake out, I can like sort of double positional loop them and get 2 bites at trying to have a go instead of just the one there with that loop. So I've got some interesting loops set up potentially. Savala also, he's just sitting there. He's not going to play. Munster plays the Titans, and he's been doing really well lately. I'm big on the eye test for Jerome Hughes this week after a week off because I don't think he's right. I think he's probably had a problem with his leg or something. Munster was doing quite a lot of work. If Munster goes back to his 40s and his 30s because Hughes is starting to take more role, Munster will get sold next week. He's got a very low break even. He made 40K, I think, the week before because Origin because he finally hit a couple 70s back to back. But yeah, I don't see him as a final team gun at the moment just because, I mean, look what he did for the first 2 months of the season, and now he's only just got going. That's quite possibly a flash in the pan. But if he gets 60 plus, I will probably buy Latu Fanu a week early for Hubner and then probably take out Fogarty and put in Munster score there. So I'm well set up and I'm a little bit lucky with game order this week. A lot of these players like Katonga, Tamale, Hosking, White, Haas, all play very late, which is very nice, my looping ability this week. So that's me for this week. Let's go have a look at Supercoach. I am having a good time in Supercoach as well. I managed, I think it was 1,034 in the end, which was really nice with just the 13 players up to 319. Now, I don't know, does this speak better of the fact that I'm doing well in Supercoach or worse than the fact that I'm doing a dream team that my Supercoach rank, where there's 200,000 teams, is lower than my dream team rank, where there's 3,000? Bit shocking in dream team. I know Jamie's killing it. I think he's about 14th. So fantastic job for him. For me, I'm really starting to push trades low. I don't like that, but I think this is the spot where I start to sit a little bit because I want to push the money into my team. Yeah, I've got a heap of money of 16.6 million and Kane Bradley to effectively loop Lucas and edge centre wing options is just better along with Kolomatangi than Hubner and Roddy. It just straight up is. Just is. So last week was really good for me. Savala clutched up. Iro was a really nice bring in. Yeah. Roddy, not so much, but I mean, I'll take those 2 big scores all the way to the bank. And Olaquata got left out to dry when Will Penasini went down about a minute and a half in, and the ball just went left to Lehigh Hopewade all night. So I'm pretty set for this week. I think Sandon's going to be my hooker. Hooker's pretty garbage this year, both in fantasy and Supercoach. McInnes is one of my final 2 hookers, and we'll see how I go with that later in season. But yeah, up to 5th in the Podmasters League now. So really quite happy with how I'm going, to be honest. And that's really about it this week, guys. It's all about this boy. This boy you should be looking to buy if you're an overall coach, even if you're a head-to-head coach. With him in the middle, I think he can be pumping out high 50s, 60s points in very big minutes. And you want that in your team with a duel, with really good buy coverage. There's not a lot wrong with that. It's this bloke's world, and we're living in it. Kolomatangi. Aitken, if you need some edges, I don't, but I can't knock Aitken. And Jaden Campbell, just by Jaden Campbell, if you need a big wing fullback. I don't quite at the moment. I will be getting him very, very soon. Probably so that I don't play Tamale next week when Nawa is out. So that's me this week, guys. Strategy wise, get ready for Origin. Get ready for this period because this round looks rough. This round looks a bit ordinary if you're not too sure what's going on at wing, fullback, and centre and everything. And round 19. Okay, let's list. If you've got Hosking, Tarpanay / Horse, one of them, Fogarty, Garrick, and then you Rabbit O's, Kolomatangi, Aitken. All of a sudden, you're missing 6 huge guys in round 19, and you're going to be playing some guys you probably prefer not to. So I've got plans to play Nawa in round 19, even though kind of don't love doing that. And this is also assuming the Haas is backing up, playing big minutes, and there's not even, I don't even have a proper mid for there, so it might be a cash out mid. So do be wary of this buy because it's going to be very easy to have 6 outs, at least 5 outs, even on that minor buy. And that is going to be very tough compared to this week where, well, I mean, I'm lucky to have 2 loopers this week. So be very wary for round 19. I'm going to keep pushing that for a while and look at your team and how it goes through Origin. Footy Stats has got a really good buy planner for your team. You can just stick your squad in there and off and away you go. It's really, really helpful. You can say, hey, you can put some of these players in. You say, oh, Cleary plays Origin. Cleary plays Origin. Cleary plays Origin. And where is he? He's gone. I don't know. But anyway, this is very helpful if you don't want to make an Excel sheet like me. So plan for your overall coaches and head-to-head coaches. Please save some trades because it's starting to run low. I've seen single digits starting to appear. Be very careful. And that's all from me this week, guys. Hope round 13 gets you another 800 points.